Sometimes a single delayed message has the power to change everything, and occasionally, that message only surfaces after the person who wrote it is gone. Arav was a typical college student. He was focused on his own goals, his own schedule, and his own social circle. He was busy enough that he rarely looked past his own reflection, especially when it came to his family. His father, Mahesh, was a government clerk who had spent decades in the same modest job to pay for Arav's tuition. But Arav saw his father's steady, quiet presence as a lack of ambition, and his rules as an attempt to stifle his freedom. One afternoon, the tension finally boiled over. During a loud argument, Arav told his father that he'd done nothing to support him, claiming all Mahesh ever did was stand in his way. Mahesh didn't argue back. He waited for the silence to settle, before saying that one day Arav would understand, but by then it might be too late to say anything about it. It's a common habit to treat parents like they are permanent fixtures. We assume there will always be a tomorrow to settle the score, or apologize for the things said in a moment of heat. Arav left for a college trip the very next morning, but when he returned, the house didn't look the same. There was a crowd outside, and the air felt heavy. His mother was in the living room, surrounded by neighbors. While Arav was away, Mahesh had suffered a sudden, fatal heart attack. Just like that, the person he had been screaming at 3 days ago was gone. Arav stood in the middle of the room, realizing that his last words to his father were an accusation. Now those words were the only thing left of their relationship. When a death is this sudden, there is no chance for a final conversation. The survivor is left with a loop of words they can never take back, turning simple regret into a heavy weight without an easy way out. Months passed, but the house felt empty in a way that wouldn't heal. One day, while sorting through an old closet, Arav found a small wooden box tucked behind some old files at the very bottom. A simple note was taped to the lid. For Arav, for when I'm not here. It was a message his father had prepared long before that final argument. Inside, Arav found a few modest things: a scratched analog watch, an old fountain pen, and a single folded letter. The letter didn't sound like the stern man Arav remembered. Mahesh wrote that he was never angry, and that he knew Arav felt like he was being held back. Through the letter, Mahesh was able to speak to his son one last time. He wasn't there to argue. He was there to explain the things he hadn't known how to say while he was alive. The letter began to offer a different version of the events Arav remembered. Mahesh wrote he hadn't been standing in his son's way. He had been trying to clear the path of obstacles Arav didn't even know existed. Mahesh described the nights he would wake up at 2 a.m. just to check if the light under Arav's door was still on, making sure his son was safe while he studied. He also mentioned the laptop Arav had demanded. To buy it, Mahesh had quietly used 5 years of his personal savings, money he had set aside for his own needs, which he gave up without a word. Arav realized why his father's shoes were always so worn and patched. Mahesh kept his old shoes for years so that Arav could always have a new pair for school. The strictness Arav had hated was a form of protection. Mahesh knew that the world wouldn't be as patient as a father, and he wanted his son to be tough enough to handle it. He ended the letter by telling Arav that whenever he felt alone, he should look in the mirror. He'd find his father's strength waiting there. This is the reality of parental sacrifice. A parent quietly absorbs the friction of the world so their child can move through it a little more smoothly. That night, Arav buckled the old watch onto his wrist and put the fountain pen in his pocket. He didn't just see them as memories, he saw them as tools. Over the next few years, Arav changed how he worked. When things got difficult or when he failed a project, he didn't give up. He used the letter as a reminder that his father had invested everything in his success. His effort eventually translated into real results. He finished his degree and landed a position at a major firm, finally earning the kind of salary his father had worked his whole life to make possible. The watch and the letter had become a constant presence. They reminded him that even though his father was gone, the foundation Mahesh had built was still supporting him every day. With his first major paycheck, Arav didn't buy anything for himself. Instead, he went to the store and bought a simple white shirt, the exact kind his father used to wear for work. He took it to the memorial ground where his father was buried, laying the shirt down in the bright afternoon sun. Standing there, he told his father that he finally understood. He was no longer trying to escape his father's shadow. He was proud of it. As he stood there, a warm wind caught the letter in his hand, making the paper flutter. It felt like the conversation they had started years ago was finally being finished. Smiling slightly, Ara folded the letter and put it back in his pocket. The guilt was gone, replaced by a sense of duty and a quiet, steady pride. Some relationships don't end when the breathing stops. They persist in the things left behind, in a well-worn watch, a specific style of shirt, and the words that finally, years later, found their way home.